Yeah, is it clear? Audio, is it clear? No sound? Hope now audio is clear to you. Are you getting my voice? Are you getting my audio? Okay then. Okay, thank you. Right. So friends, yesterday we were discussing about a conditional statement. Then we started with simple if statement and its a syntax. And a simple if should begin with the keyword if followed by the condition. And after the condition, we use colon. In Python, we use colon after the condition. And then the statements that are to be executed if the condition is true must be indented. Okay, so we don't use any open brace and closing brace for indentation here in Python. Okay, so Python indentation is taken by using the spaces. Okay, so this thing should be remembered here. Okay, so all indented lines here will be taken as the statements belonging to this if statement. That is what we discussed yesterday. Okay, so then we also discussed the importance of pass keyword. Okay, so if we want to keep an empty block, then you can use this pass. Okay, so then we use the alternative execution if else execution, how it can be done. Yesterday we have seen, then chained a series of conditions. If we want to test, then we use these chained conditional statements. Okay, so we discussed these things. Today we'll write one or two programs using these conditional statements so that you'll get some good hands-on practice on these conditional statements. Okay, so please all of you open your Python IDE. Open your Python IDE. Go to Python IDE. Then go to File and open a new file. Open a new file. So then a new editor window will be opened. Now this is the editor window opened. Hope you can see on the screen. Okay, so here now we'll type a few example programs. We'll execute few example programs using conditional statements. Okay, so the first program I would like to execute is, what we do is we enter a number, then we test whether that number is a integer, whether that number is an even number or odd number. Okay, or you can also write a code for simple if else statement, a positive number or a negative number. Okay, so these are few examples you can work for a simple if else statements. Okay, so today I would like to write a simple program. Okay, so here just you write a comment program to test a given number is even or odd. Okay, so then you read the number through keyboard. Okay, so then declare a variable num is equals to. So how to read uh, data from the keyboard? By using input function. Okay, so then here you can give some prompt message to the user. Okay, so inside the input, say enter an integer. Okay, so by default, the input function reads the data from the keyboard entered as a string. So you need to convert that into integer type. So that's why you enclose this statement in the int function. Okay, now this statement reads your number. Okay, so once you have a number with you, then now you test whether that is even or odd. Okay, so how do we decide whether it is even or odd? When you divide the number with 2, if the remainder is 0, then that is even, otherwise it is odd. Okay, so that means we need to test the remainder. Okay, so that means for getting the remainder we have modulus operator. Okay, so then we test the code because we need to write a condition here. So for writing the condition, what we do, we use if statement here. If, okay, so then say num mod 2. If num mod 2 is equals to 0 followed by colon. Okay, so then automatically see the cursor goes to the next indented line. Okay, so in Python IDE, if you open, automatically it goes to the next indented line. So directly here, what statement you want to execute, just you write here. So I want to just print a number is even. Otherwise, else, and please, this else should be exactly below the if statement. Else, and else should be followed by colon. Okay, so then write the statement to be executed. Okay, so when the control comes to else part, just you write the statement to be executed. So here I want to just print that number is odd. Number is odd. Okay? So this is simple code using if else statement. Okay, so then save this file. Say save as. Go to your folder. We created Python programs folder. Okay, so you go to the folder. So I have created my folder in E drive. Okay, so you go to your drive and go to the folder Python programs. Okay, then save your file with a name. So what is this? It is even odd. Okay, so then you can just uh, give the file name as even odd .py. Okay, or just even odd. If you give, then automatically the extension is Python file cn. Okay, so then it will be saved as a .py file. Then save your file. So at the above you can see even odd .py. Now once you finish typing your program, once you save your program, then run your code. Okay, so go to run and execute your program. Okay, so now you can see when you execute your code, then it asks you to enter. You can just see here. Okay, so enter an integer. Okay, so you enter some number here, for example 5 I entered, then press enter. Then you can see the output displayed, number is odd. Number is odd. Okay, so like this you can execute the program any number of times. Now if you execute the code once again, if you execute the code once again, you can just see on the screen I am executing. Okay, so again it asks to enter a number. Okay, so this time you enter some number, then you can see number is even. Number is even. Okay, so you can test your program with different numbers and just check out whether the output is printed correctly or not. Okay, so this is simple code, Python code you can write using a if else statement. So your first conditional statement program, Python program. This is it okay? Have you done this? Yeah, please execute the code, because when you type and execute, then you feel better when you want to use these conditional statements. Okay, all right. We'll write another code using a chained conditional statements. Okay, so the best example program for this is to find the greatest of three numbers. So go back to your Python IDE, open a new file. Open a new file. Okay, so a new editor window is opened here. Okay, so here we'll type our program. Okay, so first type the comment. Okay, so this is the program to find the greatest of three numbers. Greatest of three numbers. Okay, so here we need to read all the three numbers through keyboard. Okay, so what we do is we'll use three variables. Okay, so a, now you say input. You know how to use input function to read data from the keyboard. Okay, so hope now you are familiar with this function. Okay, so just to give a message to the user, enter first number. So then I copy paste this, then change the statements here, then say enter second number, then store it in another variable called b, then third number you store in a variable called c, enter third number. So like this you can read three numbers. Okay, so now we'll use chained conditional statements we can use here. Okay, so if now you can use a logical operator also if you want, or individual conditions you want to test, you can use. Okay, so I don't want to make the program too lengthy. Okay, so due to time constraints, okay, I'll you be going with the logical operators. So A greater than B. Okay, and you will also come to know how to use logical operators here. Okay, so A greater than B and A greater than C. So just you can print here A is greater. Now you can use elif here. Okay, so elif, then you can use you can remove these braces here. Now elif, now you can test whether B greater than A and B also greater than C. Okay, so then you can say print B is greater, and finally else A is not greater and B is not greater, and finally you can confirm that C is greater. So no need to test the condition here, it is confirmed. So directly you can type here C is greater. Then save the program, save as. Okay, so then I'll just say greatest. Okay, so greatest 3 you put, so that you will come to know greatest of 3 numbers program. And then save this. Okay, so at the top you can see greatest 3.py. Hope all of you finished executing this. Now run the code, and just you try to run the code. Okay, so just you can observe the error displayed on the screen. Okay, so what it is saying, invalid syntax. Okay, so don't fear about the errors. Okay, so you must handle errors, then only your programming skills will be improved. Okay, so sometimes when I type a code, so okay, even for my students also, deliberately I introduce errors into the program. That means I omit some important points, elements in the program, so that they'll get some error and they'll come to know how to correct such errors. Okay, good. Okay, so some of you have immediately responded. So at the end, you should have 2 braces. Very good. Okay, so this attention required. Now, so go back to your program. Okay, so then, so here we have tool open parenthesis here, but at the end we have only one closing parenthesis. Okay, so that's why we must add another closing parenthesis. There are no matching parentheses. That's why we are getting error. So add those closing parentheses, save your program again. Okay, so then again run your code. Okay, so then it asks you to enter the number. Okay, so just I'll share my screen. you can see. Okay, so enter first number. Okay, so I enter 15, enter second number. Okay, so then I enter 20, then enter third number, then I say 10. Okay, so b is greater. Okay, so here we are displaying b is greater. Okay, but instead of b you want the number to be displayed there. Okay, so how to print that number there, that we will discuss today. Okay, so you will come to know, but time being whatever concepts we covered, based on that just we are printing these messages. Okay, so don't worry. So in place of b, how to print that number will come to know today. Okay, so step by step we'll learn all the concepts. Right, so if you have finished the execution, then we'll proceed with our ppt presentation, and we'll try to cover today's topics. You have finished? Right. So nested conditional statements also we executed successfully. Right. So moving on to the next topic. Just I want to see whether you have finished or not. Yeah, have you finished? Okay, right. Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic. Right. Now we executed our programs. Okay. Now, have you completed exercise problems? Yesterday I have given some 4 5 exercise problems. Have you done those exercise? In that we have one temperature conversion program. Okay. I do not know whether you have finished it or not. Okay. So anyhow, we'll see the code for temperature conversion. Okay, so hope if you have written temperature conversion program, okay, so then you might have written in this form. Okay, so you are asking the user to enter temperature in a Fahrenheit. Okay, so that you are reading, then that value you are storing in a variable called as inp. Okay, so then afterwards you typecast that into, because inp now contains string. Okay, so you are typecasting that into float variable, because generally temperature will take a floating point type. Okay, so then you are storing that in a variable called as Fahrenheit, FAHR. Okay, so then this is the formula for a temperature conversion. Celsius is equal to Fahrenheit minus 32 multiplied by 5 divided by 9. Okay, so then this converts the Fahrenheit into Celsius, and the result will be stored in the variable called as cell. Okay, so then when you print cell, then it prints the temperature in a Celsius. Okay, right. Now if you execute this code, just you can see the sample input output I have uh, shown in the PPT. Okay, so if you want to execute at the Python interpreter, okay, the command you are directly executing in the editor itself. Okay, so now sometimes you want to execute in the Python interpreter, then what is that? You have to use the command Python space then your program name. For example, my program name is foreign.py. Okay, so then it asks the user to enter Fahrenheit temperature 72. I entered, then I'll get 22.222. This is the corresponding temperature in a Celsius. Okay, so up to this point it works fine. Up to this point it works fine. Okay, but user always not follows the instruction. Okay, so sometimes there may be some crazy users. Okay, so if you ask the user to enter Fahrenheit temperature and deliberately he enters his name, something like Fred. Okay, so name is a string here. This Fred is a string. Okay, so use this string, you cannot convert into a floating pointer value. That means your program fails at the second statement. Your program fails at a second statement. Okay, so that's why you can see value error could not convert string to float. Hope today many of you got this kind of error. Okay, so this can be rectified in tomorrow's code challenge. No doubt you will rectify this and you can write successful code tomorrow. Okay, right. Now that means here the intention of this code is if the user enters some unexpected input. Okay, so then your program misbehaves. Your program misbehaves. That means your uh, program doesn't know what to do, how to convert a string to float. That's why it gives error. It throws an error. Okay, so you in such case what is happening? That means your program abnormally terminating. Your program abnormally terminating. When we develop a software, this should not be the case. Okay, every program should terminate gracefully. This is the rule followed in software engineering. Okay, so when we write a code, when we develop a software, your software or your program should not terminate abnormally. Then how to handle such a unexpected inputs from the user? Okay, so that is by using two keywords, try and except. Okay, so in Python we have two keywords to handle such unexpected errors. Okay, so those two keywords are try and except. In Java, you have try and catch. Java, C++, you find a try catch, but here we call them as a try except keywords. Okay, so the main idea of this try and except is that if some sequence of instructions have a problem and you want to add some statements to be executed if some error occurs. Okay, so that means if those instructions, problematic instructions, okay, so they should not throw any error, and you want your own message to be thrown when such error occurs. Okay, so that can be done by using this try except keywords. Okay, so these extra statement blocks are ignored if there is no error. And don't think that if you write try except compulsorily it throws an exception. Okay, no, if there is no error your program executes normally. Okay, we'll see that now how to include try except in our code. Okay, so just you can see here I have modified the previous program using try except I have rewritten the temperature conversion code in this form. Okay, so what I am doing here, the first line I kept as it is. Okay, because the second line I told. Okay, so in the second line onwards, you will get a problem converting a string to floating point. Okay, so that code now you include in a try block. We call it as a try block. Okay, so inside the try, and please remember the syntax of try, the keyword try followed by colon. Okay, and all the statements inside the try must be indented. Must be indented. Okay, so the next three lines I am including in the try block. After that, then I am writing the keyword except followed by colon. Okay, and the statements that are to be used in except block must be indented. Okay, so if an exception comes, what to do? Okay, so that's I want to print some statement, please enter a number, because user might not have entered a number. Okay, your program fails when he enters a string. Okay, so that's why you want to give a message, you want to tell him in a friendly manner, please enter a number. Okay, so then he understands, oh, I committed the mistakes, other than number I entered, then by seeing this message he enters the number next time. Okay, so this is how, that means in if there is an exception error occurs inside the try block, then only the control comes to this except block. Okay, how it executes here? So the first line executes as it is, it reads the Fahrenheit temperature, then it comes to try block and it executes the second statement. If there is an error in this second statement, okay, so then immediately from here control jumps to this except here. Okay, assume that there is no error, then your INP is converted into float and stored in Fahrenheit. Then the next statement is executed and it prints Celsius temperature. If there is no error, then this except block is not executed. You won't see this statement, print statement. Whenever there is an error, then only the control comes to this except and prints this statement, please enter a number. Okay, so we'll see the even order program we have written now. So for that we'll include this try except block. Hope the concept is clear. Is it? Yeah, have you got the try except concept? Okay, then we'll see our even odd program. Yeah, some people saying that it is Celsius to Fahrenheit program. Okay, so you will check out that whether it is Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, but others can react on this. Okay, anyhow, right. So we'll go with the even order code. Okay, so then I introduce try catch in that, and what happens first without a try catch, we'll try to execute the program with unexpected input. Then we'll see. Then we'll see. Okay, so open your even odd program in Python IDE. Now this is our even odd code. This is our even odd code. Okay, right? Now run your program. Run your program. Okay. Then run your code. Then you can see what it asks. Okay, so let me share the screen. Now enter an integer, it is asking. Okay, so we entered integers and then we tested whether the number is even or odd. Okay, so now we'll enter a some string here. Okay, so what it says we'll see. For example, I said Python. Okay, so then you can see the error message displayed there. Okay, so invalid literal for a int with base 10 Python. Okay, so that means it is unable to convert this Python into integer type. Okay, so that's why you can see the error here. Okay, right. So now we'll try to handle such a errors by using a try catch. Okay, so now what I do is I modify the code. How I modify? Let us just go back to our even odd program. Okay, so now here this is the conversion function int. Okay, this is the conversion function. Now what I do is I just modify this code. Even you can start including from the first line onwards, or I'm reading the input first. Okay, so this I say n. Okay, so then in the second line, I say num is equals to int of n. So I am typecasting the input into this. Okay, so here there may be a problem. Okay, so that's why I include try at the beginning of these lines. Okay, so then these statements you indent and at the end you add a except keyword. Okay, so then here you want to display some message to the user. Okay, so then you can give a message, please enter an integer. Okay, so such a message you can give to the user. Okay, so try and accept keywords must follow with a colon. Right, modified your code, then please indent all the statements inside the try block. Inside the try we have if else statement and those statements also indented. Okay, so inside the try this is called first level indentation. Inside that we have if else, that is called second level indentation. Yeah, completed. Okay, so then run your code, save your code. Okay, so then run your code, then I am executing the code. So you can see the screen. Now, when we execute the code, now it asks the user to enter an integer. Okay, so now we enter a string and we'll see what happens. Python. Okay, so now just see here. Please enter an integer. Okay, so now you cannot uh, see this kind of error displayed by your program. Okay, so that means you have caught the unexpected error occurring in your program by using this except keyword, and your program now terminates gracefully. Okay, so the statement print statement in except that is executed here. That's why you can see please enter an integer. Okay, so then user comes to know what is the mistake he committed. So this is how we can use try and except. Now if you execute the code once again, just see there, then see it asks an integer to enter. Okay, so you enter some integer, say 55, I entered. Now see number is odd. Okay, if there is no error, unexpected input, okay, so then your program behaves normally. Okay, so if there is an unexpected input, then only it raises an exception, and you are catching that exception using this try and except keywords. Clear? Okay. You can try with different inputs. So if you have finished executing your code, then we'll move on to the next topic. Right. So this is how you can catch exceptions. Clear? Now you just have shown how your program behaves now. So in the first case, I entered a number, then it displayed a corresponding temperature in Celsius. Then if I enter a string, then it displays enter a number. Okay, so that we confirmed from our program. Okay, right. Now, short circuit evaluation of logical expressions. Okay, so this is very important when you attend for a competitive examinations. Okay, so you need to understand how logical expressions, logical operator works. Quickly we'll go through this. Okay, so I thought of it useful from placement point of view. That's why I included here. Okay, so now just see the code here. I have a variable x containing a value 6 and y I am assigning 2. Okay, so then I have an expression x greater than or equal to 2 and x by y greater than 2. Okay, so what happens here? Now, what is the value from this? Because this is a logical expression, then it prints either true or false. Okay, so x greater than or equal to 2, 6 greater than or equal to 2, yes, true, and x by y greater than 2. Okay, so what is x by y value? X by y value, okay, so x by y quotient, okay, so then greater than true, that is false. Okay, now this is first example. Now observe the second example. Now x is equal to 1, y is equal to 0 I given. Okay, I changed the values and I used the same expression. Now I'll get the result as a false. Try to observe these two examples expressions with these values. Okay, now so in the second example, just see here, in the second example, x greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so x is equals to y, so it checks first y, 1 greater than or equal to 2, 1 greater than or equal to 2, so 1 greater than or equal to 2 is false. Okay, so in and truth table, if any one of them is false, you know that the entire expression value is false. Entire expression value is false. Okay, so that's why it won't go to the second expression. Your interpreter won't evaluate this second expression and directly it displays the result as a false. That means after evaluating the first expression, then directly it confirms that the result of this expression is false. Directly it displays. This is called short circuit evaluation. Okay, so that means you are short circuiting, you are not evaluating the entire expression. In the first case, if you see 6 greater than 2, Yes, true. Okay, so when the first expression is true and in and operator is used, then it goes to the second expression. We do not know whether second expression is false. Okay, so in such case, then it goes to second expression and evaluates and evaluates. Okay, then if the first expression is false, then it won't go to the and directly it evaluates to false. The entire expression value, this is called becomes false. Okay, this is called short circuit evaluation. Even your interpreter also evaluates in that fashion. Clear? Okay, so we can say that when the evaluation of a logical expression stops because the overall value is already known, okay, then this is called a short circuiting the evaluation. Okay, so from one expression, it is confirmed that the overall value of the expression is going to be the same, then it won't evaluates rest of the expression, and this is called a short circuit evaluation. Okay, so you can just see an example here. Say x is equal to 6, y is equal to 0, and x greater than or equal to 2, and x by y greater than 2. Okay, so in this case, you'll get division by 0. Okay, so in division by 0 is not allowed in computer, so that's why you will get an error here. Now you can see, for example, see the difference between example 2 and example 3 here. Now example 2, see here also we are doing division by 0, but here we don't get any error here. Okay, now why x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 0, x by y we are doing, that means you are dividing x with y value is 0. Okay, so division by 0 you are doing. Okay, but because the first expression value is true or false, because of the first expression x greater than or equal to 2 became false. Okay, so that's why then the remaining expression it has not evaluated, and it has confirmed that the value of this expression is false, so that's why it displayed false. But whereas in third example, you can just see here x is 6 and y is equal to 0. If you apply these values, 6 greater than 2, true. Okay, so since the first expression becomes true, then it evaluates the second expression in which you are attempting to divide a number with a 0. So that's why you will get this 0 division error message there. Okay, so this is the runtime error occurred. This is called a runtime error. Okay, based on your values, you are getting these runtime errors. Okay, so such errors you should handle by using try and except keywords. Clear? Okay, so hope uh, try except how to handle exceptions. Okay, then how logical expressions are evaluated using short circuit evaluation method. Okay, right. Now when there are such a unexpected errors. Okay, so you have to provide a pattern that is called as a guardian pattern. Okay, so that means we can construct the logical expressions to uh, place a guardian evaluation just before the evaluation which causes an error. Okay, so if you think that there is an error occurring in some logical expression, okay, so you can provide a guardian evaluation so that it won't display the error message. Okay, so just see the example here. That pattern is called a guardian pattern. Okay, now how we can provide such guardian pattern, we'll see here. For example, x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 0. Observe carefully here. Now x greater than or equal to 2 and y not equals to 0, and x by y greater than 2. Okay, now in this case, just see here, x is equals to 1, 1 greater than or equal to 2, false. Okay, so in the first case it is false, then directly the rest of the expression is not evaluated, then directly it displays as a false. Now here when we used these values, x is equal to 6 and y is equal to 0, then we got a division by 0 error here. Okay, in previous expression. Now I modified that previous expression and I used a guardian pattern here. What is this guardian pattern? Now see, just I have introduced a new expression here. Okay, so x is equal to 6, 6 greater than 2, yes, true. Okay, so then here whenever you are using a division, okay, so there may happen that this y may become 0. Okay, so if you use this kind of statement in loops, okay, so suddenly at one point of time the denominator may become 0. Okay, so then you, before this, you please check that the denominator, this you evaluate only when the denominator is not 0. Okay, so that is how you can provide a guardian pattern here. Okay, so this y not equal to 0, this is called a guardian pattern here. Okay, so if the first expression is true and then it comes to second expression, then it checks y not equal to 0, then this becomes false. Okay, so when this becomes false, then it won't go to third expression. Okay, so then directly it prints the result of the expression as a false, then you won't see any error message displayed there. Clear? Instead of that, if you write the same expression in this fashion in example 3, for example, just x greater than or equal to 2 and x by y greater than 2, and at the end y not equal to 0 if you use, then in the second expression you are trying to attempt a division by 0. That's why you will get division by 0 error here. Okay, so the best way is to write to test the denominator not equals to 0 before division operator. Okay, so example 2 is the best way of writing the expression, and this y not equal to 0, this is called the guardian pattern. Okay, so you can introduce such a guardian pattern so that your program won't displays such error messages. Okay, all right, you can see there y not equal to 0 acts as a guard to ensure that we only execute x by y if y is non-zero. X by y is executed only when y is non-zero. Okay, so it is acting as a guard. So that's why this y not equal to 0 is called guardian pattern here. Okay, right. So we have some exercise code for you. Just take the screenshot of this exercise code. Now you will get some good hands-on using conditional operators and also exception handling in Python. Okay, so just take the screenshot of these. I have given sample input output for these programs. You can test your programs with these. Right. So here we have some question from Lakshmi Narayana. In C, scanf separate two inputs with a space. In Python, can we separate? Okay. So in Python, if you give two inputs in single line, then that entire thing is taken as a string, single string. Okay. So that's why each input you must separate in a new line. You must provide in a new line. Each input you must provide in a new line, because the input function reads your input as a string. So if you provide all the numbers in single line, then that entire thing is taken as single string. Okay, so that's why uh, you cannot use spaces for separating your input. Okay, right. So have we taken screenshot of this? Right. We'll see any more questions for you. Yeah, you have another good program for practice. Chained conditional you can use here. So I have given sample output. Your program should behave in that fashion when you give such input. Okay, so please take care, observe the input output sample input output provided, and accordingly you write the code. Okay, so it gives a good practice to you. The best way to learn programming is by writing code ourselves. At least you should keep a goal that every day I must write at least some 20 lines of code. You take any problem and try to write a code for that. Okay, so this way you can improve uh, your programming skills. This also improves your problem solving skills. For a given problem, you will come to know how to write a program. You can write a program provided if you can solve that problem mathematically. If you know the mathematical solution for a given problem, then only you can write a code. So that means you should have problem solving skills as well as programming skills. And for those who are really interested in programming, okay, so today I have introduced you to online coding platform hackerearth.com. Okay, so from now onwards you can log into that hackerearth.com, and there are hundreds of programs available for your practice. Okay, so you can take easy questions, medium questions, hard questions. You can start practicing using easy questions, and you start writing your own code for those problems and submit your own code. Okay, so your rank will be improved. And if you open hackerearth.com, you can see, I think in the home page, you can see Value Labs. Recently, they have conducted a machine learning hiring competition. Okay, so that means companies now are looking at getting programmers or getting inputs or human resources into their companies by conducting these hiring challenges on such type of online coding platforms. Okay, so you have hackerearth.com, hackerrank.com. Okay, so there are, as you browse, you start working on these online coding platforms, you will come to know. Right? Okay. Then next we'll see how to write a functions in a Python, and this is very important stuff in a Python, because all the Python code, if you observe, you can see many functions written in that. Okay, so today we'll see how to write functions in Python. Are you ready? Yes, shall we move with the functions today? I hope you are busy in taking screenshot. I think nobody responding. Yes, yes. Indentation is very important in Python. It always creates lots of problems if you don't use proper spaces or indentation in Python. Okay, so everything in Python is because of indentation only. Okay, so we should understand that indentation. I'll tell you in tomorrow's class, if you have extra spaces or some other things, how to automatically uh, remove them. Okay, so there are some auto formatters available. Okay, so if possible tomorrow I'll introduce that auto formatter, one of the auto formatter. Okay, so right, so today we need to understand basic concepts. Okay, so functions will move on to functions topic, right? So as you know, a function is a named sequence of statements that performs a computation or performs a particular task. Okay, so you have built-in functions and in Python, and those functions are readily available, and you can use them in your code. These built-in functions. Okay, so we'll quickly go through some of the built-in functions. Okay, so the max and min functions, two functions are available, which gives the largest and smallest values in a list. For example, if I say max hello world, okay, so then it gives w. Min hello world, if I say, okay, so then it gives white space. Okay, so then we have another function, length function. Okay, so length of hello world, if you want to find a length of the string, no need to write any code, there is a built-in function length. Okay, so just you ask length function, then it displays the number of characters present in the hello world. Okay, so why max function display w? Why max function display w? Okay, so if you observe all the alphabets here, W is the last alphabet. That is, it compares all the ASCII values. It compares ASCII values of these letters. Okay, so W's ASCII value is maximum. That's why it has displayed a W. And in the second case, where there is after hello, we have white space, then followed by world. Okay, so white space ASCII value is minimum. That's why it has displayed a white space there. Okay, so you can go through the ASCII chart afterwards and you can confirm these things, right? So like this we can use max min functions, and we have some type conversion function as we uh, already used in our previous programs. Int, okay, so 32, then your 32 string will be converted into integer type. Okay, so int hello if you say, then it cannot do that. Okay, so it gives error because a string it cannot convert. A number, if you read as a string, then it can convert that into a number. Okay, so int 3.9999 if you say, then it converts this floating point value into integer. Okay, so hope you might have used a round function today. Okay, so you should understand the difference between round and int. Just we will see after these slides. Okay, so if you say int 3.999, only the integer part it takes and the decimal part will be truncated. That's why it displays the result as a 3. Okay, if you say int minus 2.3, only the integer part it takes. So minus 2 it displays. Okay, so here the important point to be observed is the function int can convert floating point values to integers, but it does not do round off. Okay, so 3.999 is given as 3 only. It is almost close to 4, but if you use int function, you will get the answer as 3. Okay, so no round off will be done by the int function. So what it will do is it chops off the fraction part. Whatever fraction part is available in that number, it just removes that fraction part. Only that integer part it displays. Okay, so this thing should be remembered. Now float, you can use float conversion function. Okay, so float 32, if you say 32.0, it converts, and float 3.14159, if you give, this is already a 3.14159. Okay, so a floating point type you enclose it in single quotes becomes a string, so then it converts into a floating point type. Okay, so we have another function, string function str. Okay, so str32 will be, number 32 will be converted into string 32. Similarly, 3.1415, this floating point number, if you want to convert into integer, then it can be converted by using this string function. Okay, so like this we have int, float, and string functions to typecast from one to another data type. Then we have some mathematical functions available, built-in mathematical functions. Okay, so and we have a math module like package in Java. We have a math module. A module is nothing but a group of programs. Okay, so those programs, if you want to use, you have to import this module. Okay, like in C programming, we have included using hash include header file, you have included, no? So same is the concept in Python. So you need to import this math module if you want to use any mathematical functions. What are those functions? We'll see here. Okay, say for example, you can use import function, import a keyword to import this math module. Okay, so import, you can say import space math, then the module math module will be imported. Just if you say print math, then it just displays math is a built-in module like this. Okay, so once you imported, then you want to access the functions available in this math module, then we have to use a dot operator, also called as a period operator. Okay, so example you can see here. For example, I have a variable called as radians, assigning a value with a 0.7. Okay, so then I want to find out a sine value for this. Okay, so there is a sine function available in math module. Okay, so then you have to access by using module name dot function name. Okay, so then I have to say math dot sine, and within the parentheses give the variable, and that variable radians I have taken here. Okay, so that indicates that the sine function takes the argument in a radians. Okay, so then it converts this value, sine value it finds, and that will be stored in a variable called a height. For example, I want to find a log 10. Okay, so log 10 of 10 I want to find out. Okay, so this is the function math dot log 10 you have to use. Okay, so then it finds log 10 of a given integer, and then that will be stored in a D. Similarly, log only log 5. Okay, so this is nothing but log base E. This is nothing but log base E, natural log it finds math dot log base E. This is, if you explicitly want to find the log 10 value, then you have a function called log 10. Similarly, to convert from degrees to radians, okay, so you need to divide by 360 and multiply it by 2 pi. Okay, so this already we know. Okay, so just to see an example, I have a variable degrees 45. Okay, so then I am converting that degrees value into radians. Okay, so 2 pi you have to multiply with 2 pi. Okay, so in C programming we don't have this pi value. So what we do generally, we use 3.14159 or 22 by 7 we use. But here we have a predefined constant available in math module. Okay, so you can use this constant value here, math dot pi. Okay, so this is a constant here, like your symbolic constant in C. So here we have a constant defined with the name pi. So you can directly use this. Okay, so just see here, degrees slash 360 multiplied by 2 multiplied by math dot pi you have to say. So directly that pi value will be used here. Okay, so then you can say math dot sine, then directly sine value of these radians will be displayed on the screen like this. You can see the output displayed there. Then you have another function called as square root, math dot square root of 4 if you say, then it displays the square root of 4 which is 2. Like this, you have various mathematical functions available in math module. You can just browse in the internet, you will get all those functions list. Okay, so I mentioned a few here. Then sometimes you need to generate some random numbers. Okay, because when you work with machine learning algorithms, okay, so generating these random numbers is important here. Okay, right. So how to generate random numbers? So we have a module called as random and provides different functions to generate pseudo random numbers. Okay, so one such function is again random. Random is module name, and we have a function also called as random. Okay, and this random function returns a floating point value between 0.0 and 1.0. Okay, so that means including 0.0 but not 1.0. That means it returns up to 0.999999 but not 1.0. Okay, so how to generate such random numbers? Just you can see an example here. For example, I have imported the module called as random. Then inside the loop, say for I in range 5, then I want to generate a random number. So then I have to use this random function which is available in random module. So that's why I have to say random dot random 2 times. Okay, the first random before this dot indicates package name, and the second random after the dot indicates function name. Okay, so this function generates a random number, and if you print x, then these are the 5 random numbers generated. Okay, so different people get different random numbers. Okay, so the output for this piece of code is not same for all, please remember. Okay, even if you execute 2 times you won't get the same output. Right. This is how we can generate random numbers using a random module and a random function. Then we want random integer numbers to be generated. Okay, so then we have rand int. Okay, and this takes the parameters low value and high value, and returns an integer between low and high, including both. Okay, so if you want to generate a single random integer number, then you can use in this form random dot rand int 5 comma 10. Okay, so that means in between 5 to from 5 to 10 you generate a random number. Okay, so including this both 5 and 10, it may generate a random integer number, and in the first case it has generated an integer 5. Second time again if I execute, then you can see a random integer generated as a 9. Okay, so like this every time you call this function, then a new random number is generated. Okay, so a single random integer if you want to generate. Previously, random function generates a single floating point number between 0.0 and 1.0. All these numbers are only between 0.0 and 1.0. Okay, but you want a integer between some 5 to 10, 10 to 100, 1000 to 10,000. Like this, you can use the range. In between the range, a random number is generated, which is useful in programs. Now, similarly, for example, you have a group of numbers, a sequence of numbers. Okay, so then you want to select a one. Here, in previous case, you are giving the range. Okay, and a number will be generated. But from among the available numbers, you want to select one randomly. Okay, so then we have a function called as a choice. For example, if I have a list as t is equal to 1, 2, 3 numbers. Okay, so from this I want to select one number randomly. Then I can say random dot choice of a t. Okay, so first time if you execute, it has returned 2. Second time if I execute this, then next time it has returned 3. That means from among the existing list, then it displays one, it selects one number randomly. So this choice function you can use for selecting among a existing list sequence. No. So these are all predefined functions, mathematical functions and other important functions. But our aim is to write our own function. Okay. So defining our own functions. How we can define functions in a Python. Okay. So that is done by using a keyword called as a def. Okay. So the syntax begins with the keyword def, give a space followed by function name and followed by parenthesis followed by colon. Okay, so that means you are trying to define this function name. Okay, then followed by colon, it should follow with a colon. Then indent all the statements what you want to write. Statement 1, statement 2, you can include all the statements what this function is intended to do. You write all the statements, and finally if you want to return a value, then directly you can use the keyword return and use some expression. Okay, so here before this function name, no need to specify any return type. No need to specify any return type. Based on the type of value returned, automatically this function return type will be understood by the interpreter. Okay, so this is very important, defining a function in a Python. Okay, so def function name followed by colon. Then write all the statements, and finally if you want to return, otherwise you can leave that statement. Okay, so we'll see a simple example here. Now say hello 2.py. Okay, so now I am defining a function called as def hello. Okay, so inside this I want to print a statement called as hello world. Okay, so then this is called defining the function. Then how to call the function? Just you call the function by its name. Just you say hello followed by parenthesis. Then automatically the function will be called. Okay, so we'll see the example here. Is it okay? Right, so today we'll write our first user defined function. So all of you please go to your Python IDE and open new file. Open a new file. Then your new application window editor will be opened here. Okay, so you can type your code here. Now we'll define our own function with the keyword def. Okay, so then we'll say hello. Function name is hello followed by parenthesis with a colon. Okay, so then write the code here, and the inside the code there is no open brace and closing brace for functions as you used in C. Okay, so here no open and closing braces, and the block of body of the function is understood by its indentation. Okay, so indent all the statements. So just I am printing here, say print you can say hello welcome to functions. Okay, so some code you can write a simple piece of code here. Okay, so that's it. This is your function definition. Then if you want to call this function, okay, so you have to break this indentation and go to the next line. Then you call the function hello. Okay, so first time I'm calling the function, then hello. Second time I'm calling the function, then hello. Like this, you can call the function any number of times. Okay, so these three lines are function call statements. Now I'm calling the function three times, and this code is defining the function. Okay, and please remember, function must be defined before it is called. This function must be defined before it is called. Otherwise, interpreter doesn't know where is the function definition. Okay, so better way is first to define the function, then call the function. Okay, so then save your code. Now I'm saving the code, save as. Okay, so now I call it as a function. Okay, so function one. Okay, function one data, and where is the folder? So I save this in my Python programs folder. Okay, I saved it. Now you can see the change fun1.py. Okay, so now you run the code here. Okay, so execute the code. Now you can see the output displayed. You can see the output hello welcome to functions displayed three times because I called the function three times. Now it is displayed. The function executed three times and displayed the output hello welcome to functions three times. So this way we can define our own functions using def keyboard. Yeah, everyone got? Hope you got the same. Yeah, loops after functions we'll discuss loops. Okay, so because defining the function is important in a Python, so that's why uh, I'm discussing this topic a bit earlier. Right. Okay. Now, so this is simple function definition and a function call. Okay, so function definition must be above the function call code, and statement inside the function must be indented. These two things must be remembered when you write a new function. Now, once you define a function, you can use it in another function. Okay, a simple example program you can see. For example, I am defining a function called message. Okay, so inside this I have two printf statements. Then I am defining another function called as repeat message. Okay, so here I don't write any code, so I want to repeat the same message. So instead of calling the function four times, okay, so what I do is just I say message. I define another function and I call the first function in this. Okay, and finally I call the second function repeat message. If I call, then you can see the message function executed two times. Okay, so this is how you can make things simple by defining another function. Clear? So, and the order should be important. Order should be important. When you call a function in another function, it should be declared first, defined first, then only you can use in another function. Okay, so then the second function you can call afterwards. No need of calling the first function again. Anyhow, you are calling in the second function, so directly you call the second function, then automatically Python interpreter first executes this repeat message function, then it goes to this repeat message function, then the first message function call is executed. So then automatically control goes to this message function. Then it prints I am John, I work all day. Then again comes back to repeat message function. So again there is a second message call. Okay, so again it goes back to message function. Again it prints these two print statements. So then again you can see I am John, I work all day. Okay, so once this is over, then it comes to the next statement. Okay, so since there is nothing, you can see these two printfs are executed twice. Okay, so this is how you can nest one function in another function. This is called nesting of functions. Okay, right. Now how to pass parameters. Okay, so we have called these two functions without any parameters, but in real time we need to pass parameters to the functions. Okay, so how we can do that one? Okay, now see, even you can define a function at the Python interpreter also, instead of defining in a new uh, file. Okay, so just you can see the example. Whenever you define a function, it changes to 3 dots. Next line. Now see, define print twice. Okay, so I am just passing a argument called as Bruce. Okay, so then I want to print this Bruce twice in this. Okay, so then after the last statement, give a blank line. Okay, so then immediately you will get the command prompt again. Okay, so then that means now your interpreter defined this print twice function. Okay, so now you can call the function print twice, and now you can pass argument here. Okay, so hello you are passing. Okay, now this string will be copied into the variable Bruce, and now it prints print Bruce means print hello, print hello. Hello will be printed 2 times. Now you can pass a number also. If you pass a number, then this Bruce is taken as an integer variable. Okay, so then it prints 1717. And if you want to pass pi value, so then you need to import a math module. Okay, so then print twice math.py you have to use. Okay, so then it takes pi value and prints pi value twice. Okay, so this way we can also define functions with arguments. Okay, right. Now we can also use a variable as an argument. Okay, so in previous case we have used only strings and constants. Here we passed the string hello, or we passed the constant 17 here, or the constant math.py. Okay, so sometimes we want to pass values present in variables. That is also possible here. Just see here, I have a variable x assigned with the string welcome. Okay, so then now you can call the print twice function with the variable x passed as an argument. Okay, so then you can see welcome welcome printed twice on the screen. Now whatever value is present in x, that will be passed to this function, and it takes that as argument and prints the value. So welcome welcome printed twice. Okay, so this way you can define function with argument, and you can, when you call the function, you can pass directly a string as argument, you can pass a constant as argument, or you can pass a variable as argument. Okay, so this is possible in a Python. Now when you define function, you should follow good style of programming. Okay, so here just I want to uh, introduce this one. Okay, so just look at the piece of code here. Okay, so what is good style of programming? I want to just highlight, because you are now going to define your function. Okay, so in the first function, just observe here, I am defining a function with a name called as function argument x. Okay, so then I am trying to split the value present in a x. Okay, so we'll come to know about this split. X dot split function I am calling. 0 I am assigning to variable a, and 1 I am assigning to b. That means this x contains 2 parts. Okay, so which are stored as an array as 0 and 1. Okay, so split design divides this x based on the white space. Okay, so two parts it divides, and that were stored in a and b. Okay, so then return a comma b. Now when I use this function in a print statement, okay, so I call the function like this function Vagdevi College. Okay, so when this is executed, okay, so you can see the output displayed as a Vagdevi College, Vagdevi and college. Now see the second function, the same logic. Now I am trying to define with a second function. Okay, so define a name split, the function name. That means you have to take the function names, meaningful names, and here the argument name as a full name. Okay, so then first name is equal to full name dot split of a 0, and last name is equal to full name dot split of a 1. Then return first name comma last name. Now you can easily understand the code of this function. Okay, so that means if you use meaningful names for functions and variables, then others will easily understand what your function is going to do, what for this function is defined. Okay, so when you call this function Vagdevi College, people easily understand this. Okay, so then in the first case, you can see Vagdevi College displayed. In the second case also it displays Vagdevi College. Okay, but which is more meaningful from understanding the logic of the function. Okay, so the second one is more meaningful. This is called a good style of programming. This is called as a good way of writing the program, or good way of defining the functions. Okay, so I recommend to follow the second function style. Okay, so we are habituated to take the names just like that a b c x y z. Okay, but better what those variables represent. Okay, so you take a appropriate name for those variables. Then after 1 month or after 1 year or after a few years, again if you want to work with the same code, okay, so then you won't understand if you take random variable names. And in the second case you can easily understand, oh, I have written this function for splitting the name. Okay, so if I have a name, I am dividing the name into first name and second name. This is the code for this function. That way you can understand at any point of time if you define the function in this way. Clear? Is it okay? So second function gives a better understanding of the code. Okay. So that is why choosing the right names and following the right naming conventions will make a huge difference while writing your program. Okay. So I'll tell you one pointer which is very important from placement point of view. Okay, because if you go to the second round after finishing your first round, which is a written test, okay, so then you will enter into second round where you may have a coding to be written. Okay, so they'll give you a simple program to all of you and they ask you to write the code. Okay, so everyone writes the code, all of you have written the correct code, correct program, but after the second shortlist, only few students, second round, few students will be shortlisted. Why? All of you have written correct code only, but why only few students are shortlisted? Okay, so these things creates the difference. These things creates the difference. Okay, because the industry is expecting people with a good programming knowledge and a good programming style also. Okay, so these things are very important. when you are appearing for some interview or programming contest. Okay, right. So auto formatting, I told there are some auto format softwares available. Okay, so we'll see whether we can cover this or not, because if we introduce some errors in your code, okay, so you can right. Okay, so quickly we have another 10 minutes of time. Okay, so we'll try to uh, cover this auto format so that you can use this auto format for your programs. Okay, right. Manually, if you want to format, okay, so for small programs, it won't be a problem. But when you write a thousands lines of code, which is having different indentations, okay, so then it becomes very uh, difficult to follow the logic. Okay, so that's why uh, you must format your code. Okay, so for that you can use auto formatters. Auto formatter is a program which identifies formatting errors and fixes them in place. Okay, it only identifies formatting errors. Please remember, no syntax errors it corrects. Okay, only formatting errors. That means deliberately, if you have introduced unnecessary symbol or if you have introduced extra white spaces, those things will be removed automatically from your program. But no syntax errors it corrects. Please remember. Okay, right. So black is one such a auto formatter. Okay, and automatically formats your Python code. We'll see how it can be used. Okay, so for example, uh, how to install this software black. Okay, so go to your command prompt. All of you go to your command prompt and see users something like your username. Okay, so here my username is hp. At the command prompt, you type pip space install space black. So then that auto formatter black will be installed into your system. Just you type using pip command, pip install black, you say. Yeah, there is some problem with my browser, it seems. Hope everyone installed Black software successfully. Okay, so friends, there is some problem with my browser. Okay, so hope is not responding. Okay, so today we'll stop here. Okay, so I'll continue the session tomorrow. We'll stop here. Okay, so thank you all.